checkout or ask your customer care rep while making a purchase over the phone.
Exercise is more than just routine. It's a powerful tool for enhancing both physical and mental well-being. And wearing earbuds during your exercise can significantly enhance your workout experience and your motivation. With the ability to tailor the auditory experience to your preferences, earbuds become a powerful tool for turning exercise into a dynamic and engaging activity. HSN.com has a variety of products that can help you get more motivated to exercise. Just type in the keyword exercise in the search bar and see what items fit your lifestyle needs and your budget. This has been Tips for Living Well with me, your Get Up and Go guru, Ty Mayberry. I'll see you next time.
Hey, I'm Suzanne Runyon. You're watching HSN. I hope you're having a great evening or a good morning to you. This next hour, I think, is actually one of the most important hours I get to host on HSN. And I think for all of us, it's a crazy time in this world, and I think we have to be prepared. I think we need to be proactive, and I think we really need to be ready. A lot of B's in this hour. We're going to talk about one of the most important ways to truly be ready, especially if there's an emergency. The power goes out. There's about to be a huge snow and ice situation going all across the country, including a very unusual snow event in northern Florida and predicting ice. And what happens when we have the hurricanes, the tornadoes, the ice, the snow? For no reason the other day, on a Friday night, I was in downtown St. Pete and the entire city went black. It was the craziest thing, guys. And we looked around and we thought, what's wrong? And to this day, we've not found out why all the lights were out in a major city, St. Petersburg, Florida. So you've got to be prepared. You've got to be ready. And how do you get ready? You get ready with our EcoFlow. Now, I want to show you the weather that's coming, because right now tonight, I went online and looked this up. Look at these temperatures. Now, you want to be not reactive, you want to be proactive. And that's part of our goal tonight, is get you set up. So if it is minus 20 and you're losing power way up in Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Dakotas, look at places like Virginia is 3 degrees tonight. That's not real feel. That is the actual temperature. Look at northern Florida. Now, I will tell you, up in Tallahassee and the Panhandle, they are not ready for snow and they're not ready for ice. And can you imagine by tomorrow and going into Wednesday, Tuesday into Wednesday, how crucial having power will be for so much of the country, let alone right now. I will tell you right now, I got a lot of facts for you tonight. Right now in California, I checked right before I went on the air, there is currently 50,000 homes in California that does not have power. That doesn't include the homes where they shut the grid down a week ago because they were affected by those horrible fires. Right now, there's places in New York, Texas, Pennsylvania, and here in Florida that is without power. And what do you do when you don't have power? We have the absolute perfect answer. Now, we got a couple choices in our EcoFlow. This is the one that I own. We have two. We have one in our little place up in Michigan, and I have this one for Florida, because I know wherever I'm at, I want to have power in that emergency. I want power when it's fun stuff too. So here's what we're doing. This is an EcoFlow, and it's the top of the line in the River series, and yet it's under 20 pounds. I can move this baby around very easily. You have your choice of just getting this EcoFlow, and if you want that right now, you are saving $270. What I'm going to recommend is you get the full package, and what's that? You get the EcoFlow, you get the solar panel, which comes with its own package, and you get the $70 upgrade on the carrying case. This is the configuration I have you're seeing right here. If you get this full configuration, you're saving $580. One solar panel at the full HSN price is $300. The bag is another $70. So I've already hit almost the $419 mark just with the panel and the bag. And by the way, you're getting the top of the line in the River series in our EcoFlow tonight. All right, we have a lot to get to. That's enough of me, because I want to get to Justin Hyatt. He joins us and he brings us all of our beautiful EcoFlows. And Justin, you know, I saw your face when you put that map up, and you literally were shocked.
Well, it's
you're like,
it was like PTSD for me, because when I moved up to Minneapolis, I moved up in the middle of winter, and it was 30 below. I'm from Florida,
Oh.
I didn't know what Minnesota was going to be like, let alone being there in the middle of winter, but you adapt. And the way that we adapt is we get prepared. But often, even what you were just saying, which is, there's ways that we can get prepared, like, of course, having power. But we don't get prepared for sometimes these once-in-a-generation storms where you think, well, in Florida, I get prepared and I can keep myself cool. But what happens when all of a sudden we need to think about keeping ourselves warm? We don't think about that. But in order to do all of those things, what do we need? We need power. And that's why when we think about EcoFlow, why it's become the #1 power brand here at HSN, why it's become the #1 power station brand in the United States. You look at the reviews. We have been around for 6 years, launched here at HSN, and then I love that we are able to offer stuff like this, where this is that Goldilocks. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's that perfect size. We have kind of what we call our river line, which is our kind of like our portable and affordable line. Now, this weighs under 20 pounds, yet we have our River 2 Max. This is the River 2 Pro. It's the most powerful under 20 pounds that we have. So if you're looking for something that's going to be manageable power, I always say it's confidence to know you have it. It's confidence to know that you can use it. This is simple and easy. And of course, we're standing right here next to a generator. This is one of the things that we say it's not easy. It is complicated. And not every one of us who is watching right now can even own one of these gas generators. So this has become the #1 alternative and option for so many people who, like you said, look, I just want something easy. I want something that I'm going to feel comfortable with. That's what this is.
Well, here's why I think it's going to be deceiving, because you're looking at our set and we're going to talk about, oh, the today's specials here, great. You would think it's such a little size, it's so petite. I'm going to grab this if you don't mind. You think, oh, a little mini fridge, it's going to work on a dorm fridge. No, this one is so powerful and such a small, easy footprint. It'll actually power that fridge.
Yeah, that's, it's funny because sometimes, some people will ask me, well, I always say the HSN family, people here in the studio are just like, Justin, is it really going to do a full-size refrigerator? Yes, absolutely. So I got it plugged in right here. Walk over here really quickly. I'll just show you that there is no power right here to the full-size refrigerator and to the freezer. And we were going to ask you right now, we always say get prepared. What are we preparing ourselves for? We don't know.
Exactly
we know
right.
At some point in time, it could just be one of the down power lines. It could be a crazy ice storm in Tallahassee that we never thought was going to happen. Yep. Something that weighs 17.2 pounds. We can carry with one hand, plug it in right here, and then I'm just going to go ahead and turn on that AC power. And now in just a few seconds, we're going to have power to a full-size refrigerator. Now, what does that symbolize to you? Well, $300, $400 in our
money.
Food. Money, right? And then that's how we sustain ourselves, is not only just having power, but having the food and water. What about medicine? We often, sometimes these are things that we don't necessarily think about because we're not affected by that. But when the lightning hits and the thunder strikes and we're sitting there, we're thinking, what are we going to do?
Oh, no.
And yet you still have power to the full-size refrigerator with something that you can hold in one hand.
And to your point, how much is food nowadays? I went to the groceries the other day. I had 3 bags when I walked out. I'm still appalled. I was like, are you kidding me? So the lights are out. We've lost power. You've got easily hundreds of dollars in your food right now because everything's so expensive. Think about just all the meat in your freezer. This could literally, one time of having to throw all this food out and then having to replace it will easily pay for the complete bundle you're getting tonight. Just one time, just throwing it out, not even replacing the food, could easily pay for our big bundle with the solar panel and with all the extras included. So why do you want to get this? And I always say this, here's what happens. Tomorrow, a huge, vast swath of the country is going to get just slammed. I mean slammed. And God bless you all. I'm only thinking the best for everybody. Nobody wants to be in a bad circumstance, but there's going to be places getting snow and ice that never get it. And what is correlated with that? A lot of people are going to lose power. You just know it's going to happen. And I always say, are you prepared? A lot of times when something happens, we react. Oh, I'm going to run to the store once the snow melts or they clear it off, and I'm going to go buy a gas-powered generator because, oh my God, we've lost power. You'll be willing to pay any price, and you'll be willing to even get the dented unit because you just have to have power. I always say when we do these shows, just be proactive. That's why I have one in each place that we could possibly be living, because I don't want to ever be in that circumstance. And when we had our big hurricanes come through, we were all in that circumstance. We lost power on the second one for multiple days. And thank you, I have the Pro River. This is the exact unit. And my husband, while I was away working, my husband lived off this baby. He used this to make sure he had power for not just 10 hours or 24, for several days in a row. So here's your chance to really be proactive. We said this last night we were on together. A lot of people think, oh, will it ever happen to me? It's not when it's not if it's gonna happen, it's literally when it's gonna happen. And the weather has been so unpredictable and crazy. Those folks in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Now, hurricane people, we know. A hurricane's coming, it's like a slow train coming down the tracks and you can't jump off, but at least you can get prepared to be hit, okay? And you can make choices. So we all know down here, you better be ready. Still, a lot of people don't have a power unit, right? But we know to be ready. North Carolina, God bless all of them. They had no idea what was going to happen. Here's something I learned very recently, and please, God bless all of you out in California, especially around the LA area. I didn't realize this, but your home could be perfectly fine and you're kind of not in the fires of LA, but if you're on the grid and they're turning it off in the part that has been affected, you lose your power too. And I had never, Justin, thought of that.
Yeah.
People who have not been touched by the fire are still affected by the fire.
Well, those are the type of stories that we hear just more and more of, well, we didn't think about this, we didn't think about that, we didn't realize, and obviously what we've seen with North Carolina, the way that the hurricane moved through us all the way up to the East Coast, the way that it did, and through Tennessee and all the different people that were affected by it, just the different infrastructures, like you said, whether it's in California that can get overrun with power during the summertime heats, and then they decide they need to turn the power off. Let alone not even with, when it's the fire seasons. You don't know what's going to happen. As we said, be prepared for anything. If you want to just be prepared for anything, be prepared by getting the EcoFlow. So whether it's the emergencies or if it's the fun stuff, if it's just the pure inconvenience, and for some of us, what's an inconvenience? Inconvenience of being out of power for 2 hours or 3 hours. When we start getting beyond that, it's not just an inconvenience. Now we start to feel the trouble, and now we start to feel that anxiety. Why feel anxiety when you can have something simple and you can have something easy like this? Sure. We're sitting right here on your kitchen island. We've got our light, we've got our fan, and we've got a full-size refrigerator, and we got an induction burner. What does that mean? I can have light in my home. I can keep myself cool. I can have my internet right here with my router, because now, of course, when I plug that in, I'll have power to that. And then if I want to come over here, if I have an induction burner that I've probably picked up right here at HSN, now I'm cooking food. Keeping food cool, cooking food, and when I think about cooking food, it's not just, again, the convenience aspect, but it's also thinking, what happens when it is freezing like it is right now? Okay, everybody in Tallahassee who's never thought about freezing, now it gets cold there, but not as cold as we're about to experience.
They're supposed to get snow.
Right. It's about to get snow in Tallahassee. It's
like
about to snow.
Potentially the Panhandle's going to get 3 inches of snow.
When do we say, hey, by the way, it's going to snow in Florida?
Never.
Never. No, never happens, right? I think my dad, he grew up in Miami. That was probably, 50 years ago it snowed in Miami.
No way.
Yeah, 50 years ago.
That's crazy.
But you just never know, right? Maybe it's just another 50 years and it's going to snow again. We get prepared for these things. Now, granted, something like this didn't exist 10 years ago. It does now, and that's why when we think about moving to different alternatives and options, yes, can you get a gas generator? Yes, certainly, if you feel confident and if you feel comfortable, and of course,
can you move it? Can you pick it up?
That generator weighs over 100 pounds.
I couldn't even move it.
It's a pain to just wheel from place to place,
right.
Let alone when you look at this that weighs 17.2 with one touch of a button, where I don't have to feel like, okay, I gotta lug this from place to place. No, this is an emphasis on portable and power, because now at under 20 pounds, plus we include the backpack, and I love that. Because as you said, throw this in the backpack, you maybe never have to take it out, you throw your cables in that backpack, and again, it just makes it even more portable than ever. And the same thing goes with the solar panel. Take that with you. 99% of the time, you're gonna be enjoying this for all the fun things that life offers, and then that 1% where it is an emergency, use your EcoFlow. If I was to compare that then to a generator, you say, I'd really be only using a generator for that 1%, which is emergency. What about for the other 99% of the time? I'll tell you what happens with it. It sits in a garage. It sits in a storage unit. This doesn't sit and wait for a good time. It's going to make you think about having a good time and taking power where you need it, when you need it.
I'd love you to do a 360 on this unit.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna unplug everything just so you guys can see all the different ports, and that's the other thing too. You've got 4 3-prong AC outlets. So that means I'm not having to unplug to plug things in. I've got all the different USB-A, USB-Cs. We've also got the DC adapter right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 3-prong AC outlets. We also have that DC adapter right here. We also have the DC barrel port. So if any of you are RVers or campers, you'll know a lot about those different barrel ports right there. Right here is where we got all for our small electronics, our USB-A and then our USB-C. One thing that's very unique about the River line is that USB-C is actually an input as well. So if you ever take this with you traveling, you forget your cable, that same iPhone cable that you charged your phone with can actually charge your power station. Now, how quickly can you charge your power station? From 0 all the way to 100% in just 70 minutes. So think about what we just did. We cooked food, we were able to keep food cool with the refrigerator and a light and a fan, and then in just 70 minutes right here by plugging it in, that is industry leading. And then this orange port right here is where you can take that DC cable that also does come included with either the bundle or not. You can take this and plug it into your car, or if you are getting the bundle, you can use that solar panel to charge your unit up. You can have up to 220 watts of total solar input and charge this in just 3.5 hours with the sun.
Okay, so I just want to explain something. I think it's so important. This launched here 6 years ago. It actually here is in 6 years, in a very short amount of time, it's become the #1 brand in the country. Like, so it's got to be really good, right? And this is like top of the line in the River series. That's why I own it. Here's something you were going to be really surprised with. It comes with a 5-year warranty. But explain how long this is supposed to last, because I love this information.
So before we used to say we'd give you a 2-year warranty, which still is unbelievable in the world of electronics, right? Now we give you a 5-year warranty, and this is why. We have things that are called life cycles. Every single battery that exists has life cycles. Our phones, we experience it all the time. We say, why does my phone seem like it doesn't hold the charge like it used to? Well, our power stations used to have roughly about 300 life cycles, which was great. Still was fantastic for the time. The way that evolution of batteries go, they get better and better and better. Instead of 300, we've added a 0. You have over 3,000 life cycles with your LFP batteries. LFPs are the same exact battery cells you'll find in all of these different electric vehicles. What does that mean? If I was to deplete this and recharge it once a day, it would take me 10 years, that's right, before this power station only charged 0 to 80%. You get a 5-year warranty. That's more than double what we used to have. So you're getting a battery system that's going to last you longer, that charges faster, that is lighter weight, and oh yeah, by the way, more affordable. When we launched any of these, they were easily over $1,000. Yes. Yep. Now when you see this, the battery technology is even better, and yet it's still more affordable.
And in 10 years, it still works and charges up to 80%. So here's how I look at it too. I know it's not a $20 item. I get it. Okay, this is not an inexpensive item, although it's one of the most affordable ones we do, actually, but it's not inexpensive, I understand. But I realize not only do I have peace of mind having my EcoFlows, I can check that off the list of something I don't have to worry about. And knowing that in 10 years, if I were to use it every single day and just run it and run it and run it, I'm gonna go past 10 years because it means in 10 years it powers up to 80% still. So I've got more years after that, right? So this is really built to last. So you buy it now, you never have to worry about the issue of power again, and then you're gonna use it year after year after year after year after year. And you can't say that about your cell phone. My cell phone's maybe a year old and it's already at like 50% halfway through the day. It drives me nuts. That's not gonna happen. It's not like cell phones, even the modern cell phones, that's not gonna happen to this unit. I mean, you've got years and years, potentially the rest of your life, because we're not going to use it every single day, that you're done. You never have to think about that expense again. Now, let me kind of explain what we've done to make it easy. So we have today, remember, free shipping. I think we do free shipping. Yep, we have free shipping, and we have 5 Flex today. Remember, the 5 Flex is going to go away because this is the end of this kind of mini event we've done over the last several days. If you want to get this, here's what I'm going to recommend. I'm going to walk over here one more time, and then I'll come back, Justin, in just a sec. Here's what I have, and it is by far the best value, and I'd highly recommend it because you're gonna really want this solar panel, and Justin's gonna explain how that works in just a sec. So here's the unit itself. Okay, here's your unit. So remember, we're gonna add this up. If you bought the unit, the solar panel, and the pack that comes with it, you would spend almost $1,000. So here we are, we're at $399.99 versus $1,000. It's a massive savings of almost $600. The solar panel by itself at a full HSN price is $300, okay? My backpack carrying case, which is a beautiful quality case, is a $70 value. So there we are, we're at $370 before we throw in the top of the line in the River series and the latest edition. That's almost the price of getting the whole thing just for the panel and for the case. Also, the case or the solar panel comes with its own case, which again is beautiful. I recommend it because you're saving a ton, and also it's the complete system. If you just want to buy this unit, that's fine too. This unit is available at a $270 savings. That's why you're seeing two different prices. Now, I would say, if you're buying that unit, I'm gonna grab these. I was hoping they would be over this way, but I'll grab them and bring them on over. Oh, they're good and heavy. That's good, because they're really solid, and you could leave them outside. These are the solar panels. If you just wanna buy the unit, you don't care about the carrying case, you can get 2 solar panels, because this actually can hold up to 2 solar panels. You can get just this with the 2 solar panels tonight, because we have those in stock, and these babies are on sale. Or if you want to add extra solar panels to your other EcoFlows, these will work with those as well. But we have a really nice savings on them. They're normally $599.99. Remember I said $300 a piece, right? We're at $329.99 for 2. So you can max out your River series with these, or you can use them on your other EcoFlow as well. All right, so now let's get into some more specifics. This is one of my favorite things that you do.
Yeah, well, I just love this. I mean, it just emphasizes everything that we talk about. I think it just encapsulates everything. When you think about backup power, we always imagine it's gotta be this. And when you even picture this, it doesn't seem right. It seems out of place, right? That's because these should never, ever be inside. Of course, you can store them inside, but then even thinking about storing gasoline inside. You know, talking to Shannon Fox, who used to be one of the hosts here at HSN, she would live from California, and she would say, you know, you're not even allowed to have gas stored in your garage because at the time, because it was a fire hazard. And she was talking about that. Wow. And so obviously another something that's very timely. But then of course you have to store this and this goes bad. Well, these things are also very, you know, they're hard to come by, these little gas cans. Okay, I'm just gonna move this. And when I tell you it is heavy, it's very heavy. Okay, even just wheeling the thing is heavy. Why would you have this when you can have that, right? And when you think about this too, you know, this actually flooded. This was under about 5 feet of water. We had 15 feet of water surge above, you know, we have this kind of creek in front of the house, 15 feet of water, 5 feet in the garage. I couldn't move this thing. I couldn't, the battery was dead. I was like, look, we're just leaving it. We're just leaving it. I don't care. And I didn't mind because, you know, all of our EcoFlows stay where we're comfortable. They're right here in our home. And we're avoiding the elements. We don't have to worry about the maintenance. And so we were able to just go ahead, stay in the house where it's safe and comfortable, and then just go ahead and turn it on. You know, I don't have to worry about the pull crank. I don't have to worry about the gas or the maintenance. I don't have to worry about the dead battery that just so happens to be on that generator. And you know when I found that out? At the worst time, when I thought, when I needed it. Yeah. Exactly. When you need this, as we said, why do you want to get the latest and greatest with that LFP battery? We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, let alone what's going to happen within the next 10 years. Good point. What's happened in the last 10 days, last 10 months? This is something that's going to be there for you in the ready. Always keep it charged. And you know what's nice? It's going to be there for all the fun things. You're going to look for all the different ways, as your husband does, and say, you know what, sis? We're going to go camping. I'm going to go work, and I'm still going to be able to do that. And how can I bring that power with me? It's with my EcoFlow. The mindset of thinking about bringing that, throwing that in the back of a car, that in the back of a truck, and that being that generator, it's not going to happen. We do live by the words of powering your life. And what's in your life? Everything, right? And everything and more is powered by electricity. Whether it's your phones, your tablets, or whether it's your cameras, your induction burners, or air fryers, whatever it might be, you'll be able to use with your River 2 Pro. And that's one of the things that's really nice, is that it's not the River 2 necessarily or the River 2 Max at this value. It is the most powerful that we have in the River line, the River 2 Pro.
And this is great. Okay, so my husband, when you saw that off-grid kind of life, the reason we bought our first EcoFlow was my husband wanted to go up north to Michigan, where we have a second place. Our house was not built, it's on an island. It's really crazy, but he wanted to live off-grid. He's gonna live in a little teeny trailer. My husband is a software program analyst. He is on his computer and his phone 8 hours a day at a minimum. So I'm like, you're gonna go off-grid. So what did we do? We got Starlink. That's how we got the internet, because I always ask that. Yeah. We were powering Starlink. He was powering his computer, he was powering the trailer, and he was powering his phone and the lights in the trailer and everything else through our EcoFlow. And he was able to live off-grid for 3 months up there continuously. Now, he has a smart hack, which I really loved. And this, I think, if you guys have a gas generator, here's the hack for you. Don't necessarily get rid of it. If it works, great, don't lose it. But here's what he would do. He would actually take his EcoFlow. In the morning, he would set it out and he would turn on our gas. He would fire up the gas generator. Instead of running a gas generator for hours and hours and hours, and you just hear it outside, it's just so noisy. What he would do is he would plug in our EcoFlow to it. He would power up the EcoFlow, turn this off in about an hour, and then he'd run off the EcoFlow all day and all night long. And the next day he would just repeat the same thing again. So that's how he put power back into this. Now we do have the solar panels. He's impatient. He just wanted to be a whole lot faster, and he really figured out a smart hack. So if you do have your gas powered and you're thinking, well, I'm just gonna, no. You're gonna wanna get this, but then you don't have to get gallons and gallons and gallons of gas before that emergency. You're not storing the gas in your garage. You just need a little gas just to repower this. And I thought that was a brilliant hack on his part.
Well, so that's the whole reason why I had the generator, is because with our larger power stations, it charges faster, so you can kind of have a hybrid system, as you were saying. I ended up actually just using my EcoFlow dual fuel generator that we have as well, because this one wasn't working. But that's why, you know, when you're thinking, why does the EcoFlow guy have a generator? Well, it's because, yeah, we're not necessarily anti-gas or anti-propane. We just recognize that there are easier options for so many of you who are watching. Why did this become the #1 power brand here? Because it's easier and it's more accessible for so many of you who are saying, well, if I don't live in a conventional home, or I don't have my significant other there at the time of being out of power, I've never run one of those before, and the physically laboring part of it. Look, again, if it's heavy for me to move that around, I can only imagine. I wouldn't, of course, think, well, Grandma, you know, have this.
Yeah,
she has a condo. We just redid it. She has her EcoFlow. It's easy, and she uses it all the time, sitting out in the back. These are the things that we think about because, you know, it's real life, and we do experience it. When we said you adapt to your surroundings, we are here in Florida. We talk about hurricanes all the time. That's because it's year in and year out. We know at some point in time we're going to have to deal with hurricanes, and that goes for all of you across the country. We're saying, I know at some point it's going to be winter storms, blizzards, ice storms, whatever it might be. We got tornadoes that come around here. And then, yeah, by the way, tornadoes that hit recently here, and I talk about a lot now, because it's real life and we experience it and then we adapt. And you said, don't be reactive. When you're reactive, you end up kind of settling for something different or something like this you're not confident in. Now you can have something that you know you can feel comfortable with.
So this is a super crazy story because we talked about, you know, rain, tornadoes, hurricanes, all the horrible stuff, right? I was in downtown St. Petersburg on Friday night. It was just Friday night. And one of the freakiest thing happened. And I was super concerned about it. And I still to this day don't know why it happened. So I'm a little bit down the rabbit hole on this one. But I was sitting with a bunch of friends. We were down at a hotel in downtown St. Pete. And all of a sudden the hotel went black. And we're sitting there and we were like, what in the world is going on? Really quickly, we got on our phones and a whole bunch of people started texting from where everybody was. 22,000 homes and all of downtown St. Pete went black. I mean, pitch black. I talked to my one girlfriend today, Justin. I haven't seen Justin for a couple days. And she said, you know what's really weird? She lives in a condo up high in downtown. And she said it was so bizarre to see the entire downtown 100% black. She'd never seen it before, right? And her condo was without power, okay? Which is crazy. And it was a perfect night. There was no storms. There was no wind. It was literally the perfect temperature. To this day, we don't know why the power went out to 22,000 homes in all of downtown St. Pete. And the first thing I thought was, oh my God, is it out at my house? And the second thing I thought was, no lie, oh my God, I'm so glad I have my EcoFlow. Because if we didn't know if it's gonna be 45 minutes or 45 days, because we don't know why it happened. So even if you think, oh, I've never had it happen, just the other day, we don't know to this day why such a large swath of a major city lost power. And it was a perfect night, you know? So that freaked us all out a little bit. And again, we were ready. I knew in my house we were ready. We got food, we got ways to have water, and now I've got my EcoFlow. And I won't be without it. And I recommend it to you. And again, use our 5 Flex. If you're getting the full unit with a solar panel and the river, and you're getting the bag, that's the big unit. We also have what's called VIP financing. If you have our HSN card with VIP financing, it comes out to $35 over for 12 months, for a year. You have a year to pay it off, and it's about $35 a month. And as long as you pay it off in a year, we will not charge you any extra interest. All of the credit cards are going to charge you interest. That's how they make money. Our card, we don't. You can apply for it, save 50 bucks on the first purchase, but that's one of the really great options, is to pull that card out and get a year to pay it off with no extra interest charged. And you can do that on the full unit, which includes, of course, the solar panel and the extra bag. All right, there's other things that I think will shock people. This little teeny unit can power some things that really use a lot of power, and I think that's very surprising too.
Murphy's Law of what you were just saying too. All these different things I'm about to show you that are in your bedroom. So we went essentially from a living room to a kitchen, where we can be able to have kind of even our Trexonic, whether it's in the kitchen, so we can have our TV set up right there, then to one of the most intimate places in our bedroom, where we want to just lie down and we want to feel comfortable. We want to just be able to kick our feet up. We want to relax. Maybe it's using our CPAP machine. You know, Suzanne, you were just talking about, it was a perfect day out. If only every time we lost power, it was a perfect day out. But you know what? That's probably not the majority of the time. It's always at the worst time. We say, you know when the best time to be out of power is? Never. So what happens when you lose power and it's freezing out? What happens when you lose power and it is 1,000 degrees out? Those are the times where you're thinking, I need something. This is something that you can feel comfortable to have literally right next to your bed. And I've got this running my CPAP machine. That's not 14 minutes. That is 14 hours. It's calculating my percentage, it's calculating the wattage, and then it's going to go ahead and say 14 hours right here. And you know what? It's whisper quiet. 30 decibels. The only thing that you're going to hear is maybe your significant other snoring, or that CPAP machine, which means hopefully they won't be snoring, or at least as bad as maybe they typically do. But you need it. That's a $700 investment because, again, in order to have a great night's sleep, you need to have that CPAP machine. Well, how do you sleep well when you know that you don't have that preparedness? There's nothing worse than feeling unprepared. This is a great way to make sure you are. Heating blanket. I mention this every single time because so many people are always saying, what about a space heater? Certainly can. I can plug in my portable AC unit. I can use this also for my space heater. But if you want to stretch out your power and have something even more efficient, go ahead and plug in your heating blanket and then wrap it around you and or your family and stay warm that way. I just wanted to show you this because, again, when you think about using this, all of the different ways that you can, but how about using it every single day? You know, Suzanne, whether it's working from home or using this as a CPAP machine, or maybe when you're not even home, you can use this as a EPS, emergency power source. So, for instance, well, maybe we're just sitting at home, we're thinking, power your life. Okay, well, how can I use it every day? Well, let's say I've got my CPAP machine plugged in the middle of the night, I lose power, and the EcoFlow is plugged into the wall. My EcoFlow will know that we've lost power at home, immediately continue to kick in and power up whatever I've got plugged in. But when we say power our life, well, what's in our life? Well, and what sustains us? What is life? Well, food and water. We need to cook those things. Because we want to, because that's the convenience of being able to have something like this. Whether it's an air purifier, and you know, if you're near California, and I'm sure the smoke is probably terrible throughout, not even just LA, you want an air purifier, we want the rice cooker, we want the induction burner, we want to be able to have hot food. In order to have hot food, you need power. And then also think about this. It's not just the convenience of having the hot food, it's also knowing that I've got the hot food so I can heat myself up. So great, having a heating blanket. But what about having hot food or hot soup or making just hot
coffee?
Hot right.
People can't live without a coffee.
Do you need some Nespresso? Make sure that you got an EcoFlow.
Here's what I think is amazing, though. When you think of a portable AC unit, that sucks and uses a lot of power to make cold air.
Right.
And yet this little under 20-pound unit can do it. Like, again, I think we keep throwing, for me, it's like, really? Oh, really? It can do that? And I really want you to think about it. If you lose power, I don't care if it's a couple days, 10 hours, or what have you, if you just have to go and throw out everything in your refrigerator and your freezer, chances are you've paid for this entire system. Just do that one time. If you could save it all, my gosh, wouldn't it be worth it? And then you're done. You can be proactive. And for me, it is absolutely peace of mind. When the power went out Friday, first thought was, oh my God, the power's out. Why? This is so bizarre. And then my second thought was, well, I guess if it's going to be out for a couple days, my husband and I will be okay. We've got our EcoFlow at home. That was my first and second thought. It really was. And so I was able to relax because I knew there'd be a ton of houses that would be all black and they have no lamps and no lights on. And yet we, the one house that actually could charge our cell phones, we could watch the TV, you know, we could actually cook up some food, whatever it might be. This unit's going to allow you to do that. All right, so let me explain kind of where we're at. We've got about 25 minutes to go, and I'm going to show you. Are you looking at the today's special?
I was pulling up the HSN app.
No, I'm glad you are. Well, I'll tell you why, because I put the antenna out there for a very specific purpose. Yeah, you know where I'm going with that. So here's what's going to happen. I would highly recommend, and this is the exact unit I have here in my house in Florida, and I have this package. And I personally highly recommend it because you get the solar panel. And Justin will talk about that, because if you want continuous power, now if you're out for days, as long as you got some sunshine, you still have power. It's not like you have to go drive somewhere to recharge this. You're actually going to be self-sufficient by having the solar panel. The solar panel is a $300 value. That's what it normally costs here at HSN. The carrying bag, I love this bag, and I love it because it's really well made, but you just keep everything in here. All the cables, all the stuff you get, you throw in here, you're good to go. And you get the unit itself. So this is $300. This is another $70. Without even talking about the unit itself, we're already at the price of the entire configuration. So if you can swing it with our 5 Flex or our VIP financing, I really recommend you get the one with the solar panel. Chances are most people who just get the unit itself come back to HSN and pick up the solar panels. Yeah. For me, Justin, I just never want to worry about it. I don't want to get just the unit and go, oh my gosh, I got to drive to another town to plug in somewhere to try to recharge this. I just want to be completely self-sufficient in that emergency.
No, I agree. And I think, you know, for the majority of the people, I would guess, that are picking up just the standalone by itself, maybe already have solar panels. Yeah, sure. You know, and maybe because they're already, I would assume, you know, maybe they just picked it up because they've got other solar panels that they've got from other bundles that we've done here before in the past. But if you are picking up the standalone, as you said, then definitely get the 2-pack of the solar panels. And the reason is because that equals up to 220 watts of solar. It's basically a buy one, get one for the solar panels, because the solar panels by themselves, just one of them is over $300. Right. And it's not very often that you can say with anything that we present, you're going to save more than you spend. I mean, that's not something that ever you could even use, you know, in an analogy like that. But then, yeah, I love being able to have the additional solar. Why do you want the additional solar? More solar power you have, the faster you can recharge your power station. It's also more available power for you to use it as a solar generator too. You're saying, what are you talking about with a solar generator? Okay, all that extra power that you have, you can actually use it and utilize it by passing through your solar panel, passing through your power station, and then plugging in all the different stuff. Like what? Like a phone, like your internet, like a fan, like the refrigerator. So you got 220 watts. That refrigerator, even when the compressor's running, is roughly about 100 watts. No kidding. So you'll be able to use the solar power to literally be powering up your refrigerator throughout the day. So even if we said it's 10 hours for a refrigerator, that's just off of the battery itself. But that's not including the fact throughout the day I could have my solar panels powering the refrigerator. So think about all the different ways that you can use it. If you have any questions when you get this, or even right now, we've got a great email address that you can go ahead and contact specifically for all of you, all of our HSN customers. So if you have questions, we are still there and we'll provide all those answers for you. And speaking of just providing, I do love that just as a brand that we have been there for all of these different emergencies. We were there in Dallas when that freeze happened in Dallas. We were there recently in North Carolina working through all the different charitable channels to make sure that we were able to provide for victims that were affected and also all the different workers. And the same thing that's happening in LA, being able to be there. And I think that just emphasizes not just who we are as a brand, but again, what the product means, because we're there for the evacuees, but also there for all of the workers who are aiding and helping, cleaning up and trying to put out those fires.
And that's EcoFlow donating.
And that's EcoFlow donating to those different areas that have been affected. That's what we love to do. And that's what we love to do here at HSN, is be able to provide that type of aid to you, because we know, and we know because we're just like you, we deal with this stuff all the time. Yes. And so we truly, and I especially, you know, I love working with you because you and your husband, you always like this is how we use it all the time. But that is the truth. That's what we love about having this, and we know that it's going to have that positive impact on your life too.
Now, I wanted to bring out, this is our Today Special. It is from Trexonic. If you didn't see it, it's the largest screen we've ever done. It's a huge bundle. It's great. Now, here's why I brought this out here. And it's still available, by the way. The green's almost gone. If you missed the presentation in about a half an hour, you're going to see it again. But it comes with an antenna. And this is really important. You know why I brought this out here. The antenna is what happens if you lose power. You go, oh my gosh, what's going on? You're very isolated.
Yeah.
And if your phone's dying, you're at 5%, you're not even using your phone. You've turned it off just in case it's an emergency and somehow you gotta call somebody. So you really are desperate. And you're like, what's going on? Well, if you pick up this today's special, it comes with an antenna and it's got a 35-mile range. Typically, the TV stations will have backup generators. So if it's an emergency and you wanna know what's going on, all you do is you take this unit, hook up the antenna that comes with it and plug it into your EcoFlow and you can get the local news. How amazing would that be? So this keeps you in touch because now with the antenna, you're gonna have a TV, you can plug this into and use the antenna and get your local stations, plug it into the EcoFlow, and there's nothing worse than an emergency of not knowing what's going on. You want to get to the TV station. They're going to report what's happening. They're going to tell you where the resources are to get help. And with this combination, how interesting is that? They're back to back in a show. You're going to know what's going on and you're going to power it because you've got the EcoFlow.
So I literally did exactly that. So I love that.
Did you really?
Yeah, so because, you know, we lost power, of course, then we lost internet, and then we had no cell service.
Did you have an antenna?
So I went and grabbed my antenna and I grabbed the TV, and that's how I was able to see all the local news. I had my AM/FM radio. I was able to watch the TV. You do fall back on those things, so I'd love being able to have that. I love the fact it also has the DVD player, because even if you're not just, because you're saying, well, if I have no internet, how am I going to be able to watch any of the streaming things? Well, you can put a DVD in there and be able to watch and stay entertained doing that. But I do love being able to still say, yeah, have the antenna and watch what's going on, especially be able to see what's happening with the storm. You know, again, still need power to do all of that. And how do you do it? So whether it's a large television, small television, if you pick up the Trexonic, which I think is perfect, use the different things that you have at your disposal. But when you don't have power, you can't use those other things. We get prepared. We say, well, if I live where it's cold, somewhere where it's cold, I'm gonna have a snowblower. I'm gonna have all these different electronics, my space heater. That's how I get prepared for the winter season. But then all of those things become, well, useless if you have no power. Same thing here. Exactly. Well, it's super hot, and it usually happens during the hurricane season because it's summertime. I've got my fan, I got my portable AC unit, and then we're out of power. And then those things are useless. You need power. The same thing, we get all this food, we get prepared, and well, how are we going to make sure that all of that food that we need is going to stay good so that we can continue to eat throughout the week? Because we never know, and we've seen it. Look, we were out of power for 2 weeks here. Yeah. You need to get prepared for those different moments, but how do you do it? And this is the best way to do it, and we've seen it, and that's why we say power your life. Power your life, not just next year or this year. As we said earlier, power your life for the next 10 years off of just this plus, right? 10 years plus off of just this one purchase. And the fact that for the next 5 years, this is still covered under a warranty. I don't even know of a car that has a 5-year warranty when you leave the lot.
On the whole thing.
On the whole thing, right.
Okay, now here's what I want you to do. A lot of people, and I learned this about 6 months ago, I had 5 things in my cart. It's 2:30 in the morning. I forgot to check out. I went home. Many hours later, I went back to check out in my cart, and 4 of the 5 things had sold out. So very recently, and I've been here 20 years, I realized that if someone is actively buying it, your cart isn't a safety corral that you've got yours guaranteed. If someone's actively buying it and we need it, it will be taken out of your cart automatically and put into the cart of someone who's actually checking out. So if you're gonna get this tonight and you wanna be guaranteed you'll get whichever version you want to go ahead and complete the checkout process. Do not wait. I'll tell you why. If you just want the unit itself, when I started this presentation, we had 150 left. That's all we have. Oh, we got 130. So literally there was 20 of you who picked up just the unit by itself, and I have 120 left. Now, if everybody starts grabbing this and it's floating around in your cart and you haven't checked out, I promise you our systems will take it from your cart and give it to someone who's actually buying it and fully checking out. That's just a little heads up, because there's nothing worse than trying to buy something after you think about it later and go, oh shoot. Especially for those of you who are facing the weather. If you guys don't mind, can you please put back up the chart, the graph? This was the temperatures a couple of hours ago. We are about to get hit, the vast majority of the country, with ice and snow. I know for sure we'll get rain, but there are so many areas, i.e. the Tallahassee, Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, the Panhandle, Florida, that they're predicting the Panhandle is going to get 3 inches of snow tomorrow through Wednesday, right? They're not ready for it. their systems aren't ready for it. So look at the temperatures. If you're way up north in Minnesota and the Dakotas, you're minus. This is not real feel, this is real temperature. Look at like Virginia, 0. New York, Pennsylvania, 5 and 3 degrees. So imagine we're gonna go 24 hours from now. Well, no, 12 hours from now. All of a sudden, how many homes will be without power because of ice and snow? And what do you do?
Well, and look at the large area of the pink and purple.
It's
and if we
massive.
just pulled the power from even just one of those areas, and when it's 0 degrees, like we said, it's not like it's perfect weather out, and then that's all right, we'll open the windows.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
No, maybe we'll just open the windows. No, it's 0 degrees out. I can tell you, look, when I lived in Minneapolis, even with the heat on, I was freezing. You know, that's why that heating blanket that I have over there, that was from Minnesota.
Really?
That was my heating blanket.
Your backup.
that was my heating blanket, and even with my dog Tank, and he's an 80-pound bulldog. You think he'd be putting off heat? He was cold.
Right.
We were sitting there freezing. You know, a lot of these homes, insulation's not the greatest. When it gets cold outside, it gets very cold inside.
Oh, yeah.
Then all of a sudden you don't have power. It's not like it's 60 degrees and beautiful out and it's freezing. Well, that it can be a very serious situation. The same thing with the other type of inclement climate, which would be the heat. And we see, you know, heat can be one of the more deadly weather events. That's why we think about, again, getting prepared for fans and AC units. You still need power for all those things too.
Right. Okay, so here's kind of what we're doing too. We've got 5 Flex. If you're new to HSN, welcome. You can use your major credit card, pay it off in 5 months, but you get it right away. And it's free shipping. These are nice big boxes that come to your door. It's not little bear earrings. So the shipping being free saves you a ton of money. VIP financing is an option if you're getting the full unit, the more expensive unit. That gives you 12 months to pay it off. It's kind of like $35 a month, but as long as you pay it off in a year, you absolutely will be not charged any interest whatsoever. My favorite example, if you don't mind unplugging, thank you, is this. How much money have you spent at the groceries just recently? I bet you one little trip and it was well over $200. So count up how much meat you have frozen in your freezer and how much yummy food you have in your refrigerator. If you had to throw what's currently in your refrigerator completely away, how many hundreds of dollars would you throw away? My bet is it'll pay, just throwing away one time, will pay for that unit tonight.
Well, and then, like we said too, well, then you got to replace all of it.
Yeah, right. So double it.
So double it, because it's $300 worth of food that unfortunately went to waste, and now it's $300 additional that you're going to have to replace it with. But then, you know, often we think, well, we got it. Don't worry. You know, honey, I got the food, I got the water, I braved the grocery stores, which is, by the way, absolutely miserable because everybody else is miserable and everybody else is scared, and you're trying to grab water. So you do all that, but then you think, oh my God, I didn't even think about what if we lose power?
Or people say, oh, I've got a cooler. Well, how much does a cooler hold?
Well, why do you think ice is always gone too?
Right, exactly.
Because it's the same thing, right?
Exactly
Because everybody's like, well, we'll get all that ice and we'll get all the different coolers. But then what happens? Ice doesn't last all that long. Those little styrofoam coolers that we think we'll just grab a bunch of those, that is not going to be the best way to keep everything cool.
And it's not going to possibly hold everything from your fridge.
Well, and then for how long? What, a day? 2 days?
2 days maybe.
And then, okay, so you had 2 days of it, right? And certainly not enough for everything that's in your refrigerator. And then often, you know, I know what I'll do is I usually say, well, I'm going to get a bunch of frozen stuff just in case. That was always kind of what we planned with years ago growing up in South Florida, was get frozen food, because if you are out of power, at least it'll last a little bit longer. Okay, well, still 4 days, 3 days, maybe? I mean, not even. And then all of a sudden you start to see everything melt out of the refrigerator. Not a good feeling. We've been through that. And we were through that because before, nothing like this existed. Right. You know, we didn't have a gas generator where we were. Right. Now you could absolutely make sure that all of that food, and then medicine too, that might be in that refrigerator is going to stay good.
Well, and I love showing the fridge too, because you think, oh, it's such a small little unit. It couldn't possibly, you think, oh yeah, it'll keep a dorm fridge on, but will it work on a really big refrigerator? It totally does. Now, I do want to do this because we are about out of time. We've got 10 minutes to go. In case you've just been kind of surfing the channels, I do want to go through all the inputs because there's 10 different ways and 10 different things you can power up at once.
Well, as you can see, so we've got 1, 2, 3. We got the refrigerator, the light, and the fan, and yet we still have an open 3-prong AC AC outlet. I love that because look, even when I look at that gas generator, it has just 2 3-prong AC outlets. I've got 4. Okay, you know what else that generator doesn't have? It doesn't have any USB ports. So plugging in your phones, plugging in your tablets, plugging in even maybe it's the Trexonic that we have over here to the left of us, you'll be able to plug all that in. The other really unique thing about this is it does have your USB-C, which look, you're not even gonna have on some of these, for instance, even power strips. But the cool thing about this is that even with that USB-C port, you can take your iPhone cable, plug it in here, and you can actually recharge your power station with that same cable if you can't find your AC cable or you traveled without it. And then we still have all of our DC ports right here too. So think about it. Virtually everything in your house you can plug in when it comes to electronics right there. On the very back, how do we recharge it outside of that USB-C? This is where we plug it into the wall, and or, like you said, Suze, whether it's the gas or propane generator, same thing. You can go ahead and plug this in via the AC and charge that in not like 2 hours. And 70 minutes, a little over an hour, which is absolutely amazing and insane at the speed of it. And really, when we compared it, it was about 6 to 7 times faster than the competition. And then right here, that orange little port right there, that's where we plug in the DC. So when we're driving, we have the DC cable, or if we're not, well, then we can actually use that same exact port right here for our solar panels, which is why, again, majority of you are gonna say, look, how do I refuel it? How do I recharge it? When I'm out of power and this hits 0% and we're still continuously out of power, that's why we always say, look, if you can do it, grab the solar panel, or if you're getting the standalone, definitely consider picking up the 2-pack of the solar panels too. You'll max out your solar already with having 220 watts, charge it faster, and then still have more solar input to be able to charge all of these other things as well.
And you gotta remember with solar panels, why we emphasize it so much, you have continuous power. So it's never gonna be that moment where you go, oh no, I gotta go get it in the car and I gotta drive several miles and find a plug somewhere. I ran into a lawyer and he said during the last hurricane, he went to the post office. It was the one place that the doors were open because you know they lock everything else up. But there was one plug in there and he kept going over there with his cell phone and recharging his cell phone at the post office. He found one spot, which I thought was pretty, it must have had a generator built in the post office, right? And I thought, well, that's interesting, but boy, that is really inconvenient. And how freaked out do you get when just your phone is down to 40%? Like seriously, everybody freaks out. They're like, oh, I better plug it in. If you get freaked out when your phone just gets to 10, 20, even 30%, imagine if you have no power at all, how freaked out you're gonna be. You've got, I mean, that's just like quadruple the amount of panic and worry and concern. If you've got a partner or family member, if you've got someone who is older and they live on their own, this size, this convenience, 100% is what you should get them. If you've got parents you worry about or grandparents out there and you're like, well, they really don't have a backup system. What are they gonna do? What if it's a huge snowstorm? You can't even get out of your house to get to them to help them. What in the world are they gonna do? Well, I had a friend in Houston, Texas, and you know, they've had the craziest bad weather for several years now, right? Her mom and dad, much, much older, and they had the huge floods, right? She could not only get out of her house, she couldn't get in contact with her mom and dad to figure out what was going on. When they finally reached somebody and had them go to the house, her mom and dad were standing on top of the island because they could not get out of the house because the entire place had flooded. She was panicked, not for just herself. She couldn't figure out what was going on with her mom and dad. They had no extra power and they were on an island trying to survive. Like, that stuff's scary and it's awful. And if it hasn't happened to you, unfortunately, it probably will. Something's gonna happen, right? Or you know someone it's happened to. Don't ever be in that kind of situation where you're panicked, they're panicked, everybody's concerned, you don't know if they're in good shape, you don't know if they have power. This is what you wanna do, you just simply get it. Now, I hope it sits in your closet and you never have to pull it out. That is my hope. I actually wish we never had to even sell these on the air. But the fact is, we all need it. You really, really do. And they have put together a phenomenal, unbelievable value. The full package is almost a $600 discount when you're buying it from us. You're saving almost $600. You're saving on the shipping. You've got the 5 flex pays or the VIP financing to be able to get it at home. And you buy it once and you're done, guys. basically for me, I figure out the rest of my life, I will not have to buy another EcoFlow because guess what? It's got that kind of longevity. And I want you to explain that once again, what it's been tested to really bring this home.
Yeah, you know, again, we're not getting yesteryear's technology or getting the latest and greatest. When we think about battery technology, how far it's come is why we can do something and create something like this, right? The innovation of just being able to create power stations. You know, we launched EcoFlow 6 years ago. In those 6 years, we have become #1, but it's out of pure reputation from you. And it's because we continue to push the envelope. This is one of the latest and greatest battery technology that's on the market today. It's called LFP battery cells. It's the same thing that you're going to find in all these different electric vehicles. And why have they moved to that? It's because of all the great things that you would expect to be better. Well, in every single way, it's more affordable, it charges faster, it's lighter to weight, and it lasts longer. How does it last longer? We have things called life cycles. And we've seen it happen with all of our phone batteries. You always say, why is my phone not hold a charge? It's driving me crazy. I need to get a new phone. And maybe it's after only 2 years that happens. We used to have something called 300 life cycles on our power stations. We added a 0. You now get 3,000 life cycles. That means it would take you 10 years before you depleted and recharge this every single day before this only charged 0 to 80%. Meaning that yes, it would take you 10 years before you had that type of what we would call quote unquote issue, but it would take you 10 years and it would still charge up to 80%, as you said, Suze. So it's not like we're sitting there saying, well, how long is this going to last me? You know, often we'll think, you know, we always talk about that with jump starters. You're saying I can jump start it one time, but can I use it again? Yes, absolutely. The same mindset when it comes to our power stations every day. For the next 10 years. What has happened in the past 10 days? I have no idea what's going to happen next year. I have no idea what's going to happen next week. The next 10 years, you've got something as that insurance policy that's going to cover you and make sure that you have something. You know, you just talked about line of communication. We had neighbors that moved from New Jersey when we were living in Fort Lauderdale, and the biggest thing that they were talking about was everybody was trying to find a place where they can charge their phone. They were trying to get communication to a loved one over there, or somebody was trying to get a hold of them. If this was just your open line of communication, and then still open line of communication because maybe you're picking up the Trexonic with the antenna, that's what this represents. If this is just to make sure that in the middle of the night when you lose power, that you got that CPAP machine, or that one time where you have that heating blanket and it's freezing out and you're out of power, why feel like you're in a miserable situation? Why be inconvenienced while you can now have something like this? Because nothing like this existed before. It does now, and it's even better than ever. And again, reputation, we're the #1 power brand here at HSN, but the #1 power station brand in the United States. And it's not like there aren't other power station brands out there. There are. Do you know who they all want to be? They want to be #1. They all come and check us out at the CES booth because they all want to see what EcoFlow is doing. We are the leader. We are the innovator, constantly pushing the envelope. This is an absolute perfect just example of all of that.
Well, and they did it in a mere 6 years. And an interesting story, too. When we were going to go buy our EcoFlow, again, this is for up north so my husband could live off grid. My husband, he's not like me. I'm a sucker. I'm like, oh, it sounds great. It's wonderful. I'll get it. He's very skeptical. So and he's a good researcher. Oh my gosh. Do you know today he figured out how to buy me? And I didn't even ask him, never even commented. By the time I got home, he wanted to buy me what the First Lady wore in the inauguration day, her hat. He's a really good, I said, how in the world did you figure out the designer of her hat today? It's not like I wanted it, but he thought it'd be a cool gift for me, right? I'm like, okay. He's a good researcher, right? Yeah. Really good. He knows how to get in there deep and figure it out. So he went through all the electronic power sources, like all of them that are out there. And he was skeptical of me because I love everything. So he's like, yeah, it's HSN. Right, Sis, right. I'm like, no, it's really good. So he researched them all. And he came back and he said, you know what? He said, you're right. EcoFlow is the very best that's out there. And my husband he's not a sucker to buy stuff. Like, he really will look into it and make sure it's the best. And he came back and said, it's EcoFlow. So we have 2 units. I have this unit here in Florida because I want anywhere we're going to be for any length of time to make sure we have backup power. And we have 1 unit that's actually up north in our small place up there because, again, snow, whatever, it's on an island. They actually lose power quite often up there. And a lot of people have all these crazy, this and a gas generator. No, we got our EcoFlow. We know we're okay. We know we're gonna survive comfortably because I've got it. Everywhere we happen to be, I have EcoFlow with me. This unit I like especially. Our big one up there, it's very, very heavy. It's a huge model. I like this one because I can deal with this. If my husband's away or gone for a little bit or whatever, he's not in town, This one I can get out, I can handle, I can do it, I feel confident in it. I also can do the one up north. This is a heck of a lot heavier to move. All right, we gotta wrap it up, guys. Make sure you do check out, especially if you're just getting the unit alone, because that one's less than 100 available, and it might be gone by your next presentation, which I think 7 o'clock tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you then. Thanks,
All right,
Justin.
thank you.
All right, guys, hang out. Find out about our Incredible Today special. It's coming up next, right around the corner.
At its heart, our philosophy is all about breaking down beauty boundaries. I wanted to create a makeup line to help you feel your best, like you can handle anything. I know you're gonna love them.
Join us for Tarte Cosmetics on HSN.
Worry about one less thing with our Protection Plus plans at HSN. Electronics, fitness equipment, even jewelry can be covered. Shop smart and protect your purchase. It's easy to add when you're checking out. Search Protection Plus at hsn.com for more details.
Get the best deals on the things you love with the HSN card. As an HSN card VIP, you'll get all kinds of perks, like VIP financing on so many items, plus extra flex on every item under $369 all day, every day, and at least 8 VIP savings events a year. Includes fraud protection, and there's no annual fee. Apply now and instantly get $15 off when you're approved. Call 1-800-695-1418 or visit hsn.com/HSN card.
Inspiration comes to me from everywhere. 1, 2, 3. And I love bringing you my favorites. Whether it's hand-picked gemstones 1, 2, 3. Or fashion must-haves straight from my closet. Style is self-expression. These are beautiful things, and it's a thrill to share my collections with you. Only on HSN and at hsn.com.